Trish, how are you? Oh, very good. Excellent. All right, we're live. Okay, so what do you got? What do you got? People looking at today? So all over. So they've got a wide search area right there. All right, so yeah, there you go. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started this morning. Tell me what you're grateful for. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very good. What are you thankful for this morning?
For an appointment today.
Okay, tell me about it.
So it's a Zillow lead.
Zillow lead?
The property might be a hoax.
Oh,
But we're going to get face to face with them either way.
right.
Get
Find out.
something figured out.
They need some help, right?
Yes,
Property
they do.
may be a washout, but the
Exactly.
people need some love.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ed, what are you thankful for this morning?
I'm thankful that I have an appointment about my shoulder today, trying to finally get it fixed.
Get your shoulder fixed. All right. Josh, what are you thankful for this morning?
I am thankful that Ed has been in a great mood lately.
Yeah? Yeah?
It just lightens the room.
Just lifts the office. Just all, the rising tide lifts all boats,
All
And
of
you
our
got here early
moods
today.
rely on Ed's mood.
I got you. Ed's the engine. I understand. All right. Well, so speaking of moods and all those sorts of things, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit this morning. We're going to talk about comfort zones.
I like that.
All right. All right. I'm feeling some reaction here. So when I say comfort zone, what do you think? What's your first thing when I just think, let's have a discussion about comfort zones? What's the first thing you think about?
Safety, security,
Safety,
not
security.
taking risks.
Ed, what do you think about comfort zone?
Something you're used to.
Something you're used to? See, now that's interesting. What do you think about when I say comfort zones?
Say staying somewhere that you feel safe and doesn't cause you anxiety.
All right. Trish, what do you think about comfort zones?
I think you're lazy.
Ooh.
Comfort zone.
All right. Okay. So here's what got me thinking about this. So when someone says comfort zone or they talk about comfort zones, there's a couple of different emotions that'll come up. And one of those, I think a lot of people kind of tend to say it means that you are in a place where you're not going to be challenged or you're not going to have any friction. You're in your comfort zone, right? So the thing that occurred to me during this last week is, so I have a son. I have 6 children, but my youngest son is in boot camp right now, and he is out of his comfort zone. I can guarantee you that. I don't know exactly how or in which ways, but when you go through that transition from civilian life to military life, you are out of your comfort zone. I have been there, and it was interesting for me to go back and think about what that was like when I went through that. And then that kind of also led me to start thinking about how getting out of your comfort zone, sometimes it happens at your direction, and sometimes the world does it for you, right? So a couple of things I thought about. One, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? I know we talk about that a lot in this room because, whether you decide to go to boot camp and get out of your comfort zone, or whether the interest rates double in a year and a half and puts you out of your comfort zone, it's going to happen one way or another. So you might as well get friendly with the fact that that's going to be something that happens. So then I started thinking about comfort zones, and I realized that, comfort zones don't always mean that you're comfortable.
Right, that's fair.
So think about that. Is there an area of your life that you would consider you're in a comfort zone, but the result is not really serving you? See, everybody thinks comfort zones are the place that they retreat to be comfortable, or the place that they retreat to not be challenged, or the place that they retreat to lay around and be lazy, like Tracy.
My coffee cup says life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Okay,
Like that.
that is fantastic. So someone that's at the end of their comfort zone, the interesting thing is, does that comfort zone always serve that person? So think about that for a second. Are there areas of your life where you're in a comfort zone, but it's not serving you? I'll give you a good example. If you have someone who is consistently challenged with their finances, for example, okay? They're just always, no matter whether they make a dollar or a dime, they're always consistently sort of challenged. And so what's happening is they've found themselves in a comfort zone. The comfort zone, unfortunately, is being uncomfortable with their finances.
Yeah, accepted it.
So they feel uncomfortable, but they also are in a comfort zone, meaning they're not really willing to understand, is there something different to be done? Or can I do this a different way? Because whatever identity they've made for themselves around that, they could never be a front runner. They've always got to be just a little behind. That's their comfort zone. But I would contend that that doesn't really mean that they're just sitting back on Easy Street in a comfort zone. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So are there any areas of your life that kind of are like that? Are there any areas of your life where you're accepting less than what it could be and telling yourself that you're in a comfort zone, but you're really uncomfortable in that comfort zone?
Living at home.
Living at home. Okay, so talk about that for just a second.
I mean, I love living at home and I love being around my family more than I would be living elsewhere. But I feel like I'm ready to take that next step and have more freedom
Yeah.
on my end and just kind of be able to move freely. And like when I go in the kitchen at night, I don't want to have to worry about waking my grandparents up
Right,
and
right.
stuff like that. So I am getting a move on that this fall.
So you're in a comfortable place, and that's the difference. So that's a comfortable place, not a comfortable zone or a comfort zone. So now you've got to go through the process of changing that. Do you think changing and getting out of a comfort zone always comes with anxiety? Do you make those things synonymous?
Comes with work. and
Work.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, maybe.
I guess like anxiety if you have the fear of change.
I think for
Kinda.
some people
Yeah.
it does because some people are anxious about just any little change in their life.
Any little change makes them anxious.
Yeah, I think that it just depends on the type of person you are.
And not that anxiety is like keeping you from doing it, it's just scary to do it. And you have worries and stress about it, but you still do it in the end.
So you're staying in a worried, stressed, fearful spot and calling it a comfort zone. It doesn't sound very comfortable to me, right? It sounds more comfortable to me to say, hey, I'm going to be in the process of this change, which is going to lead to this other place for me to be. So that's the thing. Comfort zones, I've always thought when people would say, you got to get out of your comfort zone, I always took it to mean that people were sitting back like, I'm in my comfort zone. It's Easy Street, and why would I get out of my comfort zone? You know. But I think the truth is that if you really look closely, you may find that your comfort zones are really not very comfortable. And so then, what do you have to lose by leaving that comfort zone? It's not even comfortable, right? And so when you think about the people that are anxious or concerned about changing, moving, getting out of a comfort zone, all those sorts of things, I would contend that that is the very first place that you need to start, is getting friendly with the fact that the world is always going to be causing some sort of friction. I thought about this the other day. I went outside, and there's days when you go outside and it's just super hot, right? And then there's days you go out and it's super cold, and it's windy and rain, all these sorts of things. And so I went outside and I realized that, and I was talking with someone who was in Arizona at the time, and it's a dry heat, right? It was like 115 or whatever. But my point is, very rarely do you go outdoors or do you go anywhere where you are, where you are completely unchanged or in reaction at all to the weather outside. I mean, the very fact of just getting up and walking around, how often do you walk outside and it's dry, no wind, the air temperature is exactly the same as your internal body temperature and the temperature of your skin? Like, Never, right? Life is always going to be a series of constant adjustments, some smaller, some larger, but it's always going to be a system or a process of dealing with those external influences. So I would also submit to anyone who's looking at their life, if they think they're in a comfort zone, or if they've identified an area where they feel like they're in a comfort zone, all they have to do is wait, because it's going to change. Right? Because nothing stays the same. That's the one thing that we know. Your internal light is always on, but every external circumstance will always change. So I would say that if you are in a situation where you're looking at different areas of your life that you'd like to see go in different directions, just realize your comfort zones don't always feel comfortable, and that it's up to you to change them. And the first thing that you need to do is get comfortable with change. Van, take us out.